Well. Beautiful people, best damn nation. It is Wednesday, and you know what time it is. It is the Best Damn Wrestling Podcast. I am your humble host, Brian Renegade. We back like your cousin that can't stop asking you for money. Thank you for joining the Best Damn Wrestling Podcast. Listen, with me, I have the best damn crew. If you see this man on a dark alley, run. He will beat you up in front of your girlfriend and throw your ass in the trash can. He is the green-eyed bandit. He fights people. Sometimes he bites people. He's your mama's favorite wrestler, and he can whoop your daddy ass, the one and only Roosevelt. What's happening?
You heard what the man said. I'm ready to whoop somebody's daddy's ass. Who got a problem? Who got a problem? You got a problem?
Who or what? Huh?
Okay. I ain't think anybody said something.
Oh man.
What up, B? What up, B? Man, listen.
I'm listening.
Okay.
What's that?
Before Nancy died, I'm just playing. Yeah, you got to stop posting those videos of your son, bro.
Hey, listen, man. Why people always trying to stop your blessings? Huh? You know what I'm saying?
It's a blessing. It's a blessing. Listen, it is definitely a blessing that I don't want any more kids. I mean, your son is too cute, bro. Like,
listen, I'm trying hard to hold on to the integrity of my household by not letting my 2-month-old son run the entire house. I'm trying, you know, the battle that I have to fight. I gotta fight every night to prove my love. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But man, I'm blessed, man. I just had a anniversary. You know, shout out to my wife. We just had our 1-year anniversary, man. So I'm happy about that. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna celebrate
1-year wedding anniversary.
Yeah, 1-year wedding anniversary. Yeah, 1-year wedding anniversary. Yeah, we did it the right way. Had baby's apples. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, listen.
You gotta coordinate. You
gotta coordinate everything. You know what I'm saying? Listen, we have a special guest in the building, man. I know you see this boss in the corner, man. So I just got to go ahead. Roosevelt, can you please introduce our guest?
Absolutely. Listen, if you guys don't know this man, you ain't been paying attention. And if you ain't been paying attention, he got the tools to make you pay attention, okay? Sam is our guest for tonight. He is an amazing, amazing individual, all right? As you can see right there on the bottom of his name, he is the right hand of God, okay? And he will let you know that he is the right hand of God. Look, we so tight as brothers. Look at the wrist. Look at the flick of the wrist. Hold your wrist up, Ron. Look at the flick of the wrist. Okay, that's how tight we are. All right, that's how tight we are, ladies and gentlemen. I want to introduce you to a man that you should already know about, but he's going to tell you exactly who he is tonight. The one and only Sam Knight. Welcome, bro.
Well, God bless you tonight. I appreciate you bringing me in from the Greater Ebenezer Baptist Church. God bless you. Thank you tonight. Listen, man. Listen. First off, I feel like that intro was like the guest preacher coming in to speak for revival on a Wednesday night. I'm ready to shout, get offering, and go on and get back on my plane. I'm ready to go. Like,
amen, my brother.
But it is an honor and a pleasure to join you two gentlemen on this wonderful podcast. Thank you so much for the invite. Thank you so much for the time. Thank you so much for seeing in me what many people have seen and some people have not. In order enough to bring me on to your podcast, man. I am truly honored to be here. God, I really sound like a preacher.
Hey man, you might have found your second calling. You know what I'm saying?
Listen. We'll get into that. We'll get into that because truth be told, it is. But it is an honor to be here with you gentlemen. to talk a little bit about myself and a lot of bit about pro wrestling. So
Absolutely. Real quick, man. Hold on. Resurrect. Fix your face, man. You've been stuck for the last whole minute. The whole intro, your face been stuck on that ugly face. I had to sit there and focus. I couldn't even hear saying them because your face was so loud.
What happened? It's not me. It's a connection.
Well, fix your connections. Speaking of connections, man, we got a chef coming in. One of the best damn crew members. What's happening, chef?
What's good? What's good?
Oh man, we good, man. The show just got more delicious. What you cooked today, boy? Sound like a whole lot of nothing. I don't hear nothing. I don't hear nothing coming out. Yeah, I don't hear nothing coming out. He said a whole lot of nothing. Oh man. Well, look, man, we got Sam Knight in the building, man. Sam, welcome to the show, my brother. What you had going on lately, man? What you been up to?
man, just working and trying to make some moves behind the scenes, man. I've recently announced that I am going to be taking limited bookings, and November of this year will start my last year of professional wrestling. November 29th of next year will be 20 years that I've been in this business. And I think it's about time to hang the hat up and hang up the boots. But before I do that, I plan on knocking some skulls. That's the plan. So, and I'm really excited about this upcoming year. You know, everybody's like, "Man, you're retiring the same year John Cena's retiring," and nobody really walks away from pro wrestling. Man, look, when I say I'm walking away, like I'm walking away from in-ring competition. It's time to, especially with things that I'm doing with, outside of pro wrestling. And like I said, we will jump deeper into that. But I'll say this to up and coming wrestlers and to anybody who's in the business: when you know who you are outside the business, leaving the business is easy.
That was deep.
When you know who you are as a person. Like, I'm not talking about the individual that's playing the role, that's putting on the gear and stepping through the curtain and being that character. I'm talking about the person that steps back through the curtain, goes back to the locker room, and has to sit there and become themselves. Because sometimes we play the role so much that we forget who we are as a person. And we're so focused on the role that we lose ourselves. It's so, which is why you'll hear a lot of people say wrestling is my drug, wrestling is my life. And granted, that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to say wrestling is your life. Cool. But I think that there's more to life than just that. Because if you are so focused on wrestling, you'll never enjoy your family. If you're so focused on wrestling, you'll never enjoy the moments when you're not in the ring.
Right.
You'll never enjoy life. Injuries, when injuries come, it hits you harder because you don't know what life is like outside of it. And I had to figure that out. In 2020, I figured that out real quick. You know what I mean? Like, I figured out real quick what life was like outside of pro wrestling. And it was very, very hard. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, I am embarking on this farewell tour. And I've already started talking to places outside of the Midwest. I'm heading back to Colorado, heading to Oklahoma, heading back to California where it all started. And I want to do some wrestling in the Carolinas because that's where my dad's from.
Okay.
And I plan on doing a few things, but my last match is going to be in Terre Haute, Indiana. That's the plan, to do it in Terre Haute, Indiana, and to do it correctly, do it the right way. So, yeah.
What do you think you are going to miss the most about the wrestling business? And I know that you have come to this place where you're content with walking away. But what do you think that you're going to miss the most about the wrestling business when you do step away?
The camaraderie of the boys and the girls in the business. Because I have built some of the greatest friendships I currently have being a professional wrestler. But I'm also going to miss the feeling of when you first step through the curtain. Like, regardless if I'm heel or face, like my trainers taught us how to connect. Like they taught us the tool. They gave us the tools. We had to figure out how to do it. And I think that I have been blessed to be able to connect with people, not just as a baby face, but also as a heel, but also as a person. You know, the guy behind Sam Knight connects with people easily. You know what I mean? Like, you know, even in this conversation, talking to y'all, it's like I've known y'all forever. You feel me? Like that's just how it works, and I'm really gonna miss that in pro wrestling because there's no greater feeling than being under those lights. It's just like a football player will say. I'm talking high school, college football. You know, those Friday night lights or those Saturday night lights, it's a whole different ball game as opposed to sitting in the stands.
Right.
Or sitting in the back. It's so I'm gonna miss that. I'm not gonna stop working out because that ain't just for wrestling. That's for life. I gotta live. So, but, you know, but I'm gonna miss the camaraderie. I'm gonna miss the fans, man. I am. But you know, I have some things that I am planning that's going to keep me somewhat connected to the pro wrestling business. I just won't be doing any in-ring competition.
Okay. So we can see you at a manager capacity, maybe a promoter capacity.
Promoter, definitely. Commentator, for sure, because I want to try my hand at that. I want to do some commentary. You know, I like to talk smack. That's what I do. We talk smack. Manager, no, I think that's too close to that. I feel like I'll be teasing myself, like, because when I use this aphorism, follow me on it. It's like a former alcoholic who is in a building that has an open bar. You're fighting yourself not to touch it. You're fighting yourself not to drink it. Why would you do that to yourself?
Right.
So I feel like if I am that close, I'm gonna want to do it again, and that's for the love of the business because we all get that itch, man. Like, I mean, and sometimes it gets bad. Like, you know, it's like you're like, especially when you're guys like myself and Roosevelt. I know you, like, you've been doing it for a while too. Like, in the time that I've known you, I know that we share that bond of loving the business so much. When you're so close to it and you see people doing stuff wrong, you're going, I could have done that better.
Yes.
Yes. You know what I mean? So y'all get that. It's like, that could have, why'd you call that spot? You guys could have gone a whole different way. And then you end up standing there ringside calling their whole match going, you know what? Let me do it. And then you end up writing yourself into stories. Mike, it's like an old mechanic who's trying to teach the younger cat how to fix the car. And the younger cat's messing it up. He's like, get out the way. Let me do it. Let me do it, boy. Let me go ahead and teach myself. Like, you know, so I'm not going to put myself in a position where I'm so close that I don't adhere to my word. I don't want to be that guy that says, I'm walking away from pro wrestling. And then 2 months later, I'm back and I'm gigging and I'm bumping around. No. The pro wrestling world has changed, and it's a young man's game now. And that's not always for the best. And I know I'm stepping on a lot of toes when I say that. It's not always for the best because pro wrestling has gone from being a group of people. It was a club that you had to really fight to get into, to where now everybody's getting in and they don't have the same love and passion for it the way we did.
Right.
And you've got people who are training people that shouldn't be training people. Ouch, I know. You've got people who ain't been nowhere trying to say they've been there. Ouch, I know. You've got guys who are athletic who can't tell a story. Ouch, I know. Guys who can't cut a promo.
You know you stepping on some bunions with steel toe boots on, right? I'm just telling the truth. I tell it like it is.
I've got a year. I've got an easy year. wait till I wait. So, quick sneak peek. Sam Knight's doing a podcast called Around the Knight's Table. Prepare for that. There's going to be some real hard hitting stuff that we're going to drop, and I'm saying it as no longer as a worker, but as a fan, as a guy who's not in the business anymore, but who's going to tell the truth. Because, like, my mama used to say, my mama from the South, she said, tell the truth, shame the devil. That's what she used to tell us. You know what I'm saying? Tell the truth, shame the devil. Look, tell the truth. Don't be ashamed to be honest about what's wrong with what we love.
Mhm.
Right.
Man, listen, I not only am I a great wrestler, I'm a musician. My father was a singer. My sister's a singer. I played the drums in church. My mom's an evangelist. I come from church folk, okay? And one of the things that I grew up, I even in church, I grew up listening to James Brown. James Brown was so cold with it that if he didn't like it, he'd stop it and go, that's not how I want it. That's not how it's supposed to be. If the music wasn't hitting, he'd tell you it wasn't hitting. He told the truth. Michael Jackson was the same way. We need those type of people in pro wrestling who are like, yo, man, like, I may piss you off, but that ain't it. But everybody, there's so many entitled guys and people who are easily getting their feelings hurt, man, and it sucks. I mean, for people who know me, like I said, Roosevelt knows me. I am a soft-spoken man until I have to be strong with you. And usually, when I'm soft-spoken, it's me saying, "Hey, listen, there is a way to do this the correct way, in decency and in order." But then when you start telling me and making excuses, then I'm going, okay, look, kid, the way you're making excuses is what's going to stifle your career. Well, who are you, Sam? Who are you, Sam? Then I have to break out the laundry list. And I don't like doing that. I don't like saying where I've been and what I've done. I'm not that guy, but I will. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Oh.
So,
Yeah.
so real quick, you got this farewell tour going on in 2025. Same time as John Cena, the man who won't fight me. I don't know what's wrong with John Cena. He out there dancing around with hot Sinat. It won't fight me. It's all right, though. It's all right.
I'd pay to see that.
See a Sam Knight versus Roosevelt in 2025 before you hang them boots up.
Listen. Him and I have been talking about this for a while. Like when I first met him, I was like, "Dog, yo, man, we got to tear it up." And he's like, "Yeah, bro, we got to do it." And it's like, for some reason, we just don't get that chance. But I can tell you this much, man. Like, if I can make it happen on this side, I'm going to. And I don't say that about a lot of people. Roosevelt, I'm getting ready to put you over strong. He's probably one of the most talented guys I've ever seen work. And I will pitch his name to anybody I know all day, twice on Sundays, all week, twice on Sundays. So if anyone is to ask Sam Knight who he wants to work with, wherever they are, he'd be one of the guys on my list. So if we can do it, we can do it. It doesn't matter if I got to fly to y'all or I got to fly him here. We'll figure it out. You know,
well, damn it, take my money now. Take my money now. He'll blushing. he'll blushing this shit.
Listen. Sam is exactly what he says. He's one of those guys that will sit back and speak as humble and softly as possible until he has to turn it up. And I've seen him in action inside the locker room with Destination 6. Sam come up and he says, "Okay, this is what we're going to do. This was happening. This is what I need from you guys, and this is this." And then whenever he sees somebody doing something that he knows and they know that they're not supposed to be doing, Sam would go, "Hey, man, don't do that. Do it this way." And then he'll sit back and he'll observe. And in the moment they still do what they want to do, Sam steps in and he goes, "Hey, man, I just said, don't do it like that. Do it like this. All right. This is going to be the better way for you to do that. And then Sam will sit back and he won't look at you, but he still got his eye on you. And the moment he see you do exactly what you want to do anyway, that's when Sam's going to go, didn't I just tell your ass?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not to do that. Now, if you go out there and you do that, this is what's going to happen to you. Listen to me if you want. Don't listen to me if you want. Your ass is going to be either good on one side or bad on another. You don't want to be on my bad side. Do exactly what I told you to do, or it's going to be the consequences. And then the guy will still go out there and do whatever he wants, and Sam would just sit back and he's right there, gorilla, like this. Like your daddy just told you, don't go out tonight. Yep. And you come back sneaking in the house, and he's sitting there
with the belt.
Yep.
And you come back there and you limping, something bleeding, you hurt, your match was horrible, the fans didn't connect with you, and he'll go, now, what did you learn?
What'd you learn? What'd you learn?
What did you learn? And I should listen to you. Because I told you.
I just told you.
And that's all I'm going to say right now. And then he'll look back at the other locker room and he says, now, is there anybody else that don't want to listen to what I just said? And everybody's like, no, sir. We got it.
So with that being said, Sam, what's the biggest lesson that you learned about wrestling, and what's the biggest lesson that wrestling has taught you? Those are two different questions.
Okay. Less is more, and there's power in no. Less is more, meaning even not just wrestling in the wrestling aspect, but less is more with bookings. Listen to your body. Like, not every booking is a good booking. I'll say it again. Not every booking is a good booking. You will discredit yourself running and jumping in everybody's ring.
Mm.
If you are as good as you say you are, you need to be a commodity, a hot ticket. If you are as great as you say you are, people are traveling to come see you. And I'm not talking about the up and comers. I'm talking about guys like us, because there are still guys like us who are just taking bookings just to take bookings. Our body we can't take that. Like, we got to be smart. And so I learned that I'm not in everybody's ring. I'm not. I don't hop on a plane to just wrestle for everybody unless I know it. I've got to believe in what they're doing for me to go do it.
Mm.
I have, and you know what? I am such a student of the game. When I go and hit up promoters, I already know what they're doing at their promotion because I've done the research.
Right.
I wrestled Elijah Burke a couple years ago. It was like right after I came back from injury in 2021. And we were sitting there talking, and this is what really like opened up my eyes. We were sitting there talking, and he said, Sam, he talks like a preacher. Sam, I watched your footage, and I stopped listening at that point. I stopped listening. I heard everything he said after, but the inner kid in me was marking out, and the common sense monster in my brain was going, this veteran who wrestled the likes of Chris Benoit, wrestled the likes of CM Punk, who was on the road to
Oh man, I think we lost Sam.
Phased out.
Yeah. There you go.
There you go.
There you guys. All right, sorry. So he says to me, he says, I watched your footage, and I'm not too keen on you staying dead. You're selling, but you're dying. And I'm starting to think about everything he's saying. He was like, don't you die on me, Sam.
Mm.
All right, cool. And we went out there and we worked. And at the time, he was NWA television champion. We went out there and we worked, and that man made me work. And I had just came back from injury, and I wasn't in the best shape. I was in shape, but I wasn't in the best shape. This man gave me 6 German suplexes in a row. Nobody was throwing me around like that. He made me work through it. And then at the end of it, we sat in the locker room and he berated the whole locker room out of love. Basically told the whole locker room that they needed to take this business serious. And then he looked at me, he said, Sam got blown up out there. I said, I sure did. So when it was over, he pulled me to the side. He said, Sam, if you're leading this locker room as its champion, you need to make sure that you were in tip-top shape. And so the next day I posted on my social media about how I had gone toe-to-toe with Elijah Burke, and he was a true professional. And I was grateful to have the opportunity to wrestle him one-on-one, because the match ended in a no contest, and we ended up shaking hands and doing all that jazz, you know, him putting over the talent. And so he responded to me. He said, you made it through the match, and that's what makes you great. He was like, you kept going. And bro, that sat heavy with me to where I'm going, I have got to be that guy that's telling guys the truth and realizing that, you know, I have to do my due diligence. I have to do the studying. I have to do the research. I need to watch the guys. It's just like anything that you do, football, basketball, whatever. You always watch film. And when a guy who's at the level of Elijah Burke is watching film of a guy at my level, who am I to say I'm not doing that with other people? So I learned that. The power of knowing when to tell people we're not doing that. My favorite line, and Roosevelt, you've probably heard me say it, is I'll say, how about we don't and say we did? Yeah. This is my favorite conversation when a guy, young or old, comes up to me. He's like, "Yeah, man, I do this thing, and with this thing, I do this thing, and I ain't been doing it very long, but I do this thing." And I'm just like, "How about we don't, and we'll say we did, because I work Monday, and I like my neck,
Right?
you know, or that thing that you're calling, we don't need that necessarily here." Because look at who we're working in front of, number one. Number two, how much are you getting paid? Okay, cool. Is it worth you injuring me and having a lawsuit? Right. I'm sorry, I'm going to be straightforward with you. I'll work with you. Like, I'm easy to get along with. I'm easy to work with. And hell, I'll do anything that's going to get the pop. But the pop has got to make sense. The pop ain't going to be at the expense of my neck or my back or something of that nature. So, also telling promoters no, man. Like, these promoters be trying to shoot these dumb ideas, or, hey, man, so one of the things I remember CM Punk talking about is when he got called into the office and they were pitching an idea to him, he said, cool, I'm cool with that, but what's next? I ask what's next all the time. And if a promoter doesn't give me a good answer for what's next, that means they're not thinking about me, they're thinking about that night. Right. That just tells me where I rank with them, and lets me know I don't need to be wasting my time.
Exactly.
Oh man, we got a question from Chef down here, brother.
What's up?
Yeah, I got a question. If you have to choose, like, I got out of 3 female managers, like Chris Stratus or Jessica Lansley, who would you pick?
No, he did.
Who were the choices? Who were the?
No, he did not.
He did.
No, he did not. You know that name is like Beetlejuice around here, man. Every time you say it, it can pop up. Why do you keep doing that, Chef? Jesus Christ!
Who were my choices?
Chris Stratus, AJ Lee, or Jessica Lansley?
You know what? No disrespect to my man's, man, but AJ Lee would be my choice. I love me some Trish Stratus, but AJ Lee, you know, yeah, that would be my choice.
Damn it, Chef! Why you had to do that, man?
he broke me. You see me laughing.
Oh man, yeah, man.
My dream opponent.
Yeah, dream opponent. Who?
My dream opponent. I have a top 5. Uh, it would be Shawn Michaels,
Mm,
Chris Jericho,
mm.
because Chris Jericho was, regardless of recent issues, Jericho is my favorite wrestler because he reinvents himself constantly.
Mhm.
The Rock,
Mhm.
AJ Styles, and Randy Orton.
Mm.
Nice.
Those are my top 5. Now, 4 of them, nothing against The Rock. So The Rock is the one that's excluded. 4 of them, their psychology. Like, could you
Yeah.
imagine wrestling those guys and they're piecing together a 15-minute match, and you're like, yo, this is gonna be bad, like real, like these folks gonna be up out these seats. I mean, I like The Rock, but I don't see The Rock being that guy like them. Even though The Rock is a great entertainer, great on the mic, great in ring. When it comes to the psychology of those other 4 men, yeah,
Oh,
Yeah. I definitely agree with you on a lot of things, and I love wrestlers who do reinvent themselves. Chris Jericho, as you mentioned, is one of those guys who has reinvented himself a number of times to reach different generations of wrestling fans. Have you ever reinvented your character during your career?
So I've always been Sam Knight, but there's been different versions. So I used to be in a tag team called the Black Knight. So when I first started out, I was just Sam Knight, no gimmick, Then I was a part of a tag team called the Black Knights, and we were 2 street gangsters, whatever, because that's a typical African American gimmick. But we wore jeans and wife beaters. So we were Crime Time Light. And then we transformed into a tag team that actually looked legit because we were wearing gear at that point. And then I was doing the whole right hand of God character to where, wore the cross on the side of my tights, and I was doing that. And I got hurt. And when I was hurt, I was playing with a lot of ideas about how I wanted to return. Like, I wanted to do this thing. I wanted to be the gatekeeper because wrestling was changing. And I was noticing that there was a lot of younger stars who were very egotistical and very entitled. And so I was like, I've been in the wrestling business for some odd years, and I am going to gatekeep pro wrestling. I'm going to be the guy to stop all of these younger cats because it was legitimately a shoot because of what I was seeing. You know what I mean? Also, I
Right.
was coming back from injury pissed off because nobody had checked on me. Nobody had reached out to me. I was like, no, F these guys, man. I'm coming back mad. I'm so glad
Right.
I changed that. I'm so glad I changed that. Came back to pro wrestling and was back to doing the Sam Knight character. And so I started working at Destination 6, and Roosevelt saw this live. I began to become the forever heavyweight champion. And that was the best gimmick I've had because I started to tap into a side of myself that I hadn't been using. I mean, the forever champion character, like I was, the promos I would cut and how dastardly I was. It even led to this cage match I had with Kendall Fire, Mr. Broadway Kendall Fire, who is a great up and coming star in the Chicago area. And we told this story that led to a finish that nobody saw coming. Because I was so big on not wanting to pin this kid because he was one of the most over guys on the roster. I used a crowbar to choke him out. And instead of him passing out, here's the story. Kendall is a Broadway singer for Shoot. So the story we told was I couldn't pin Kendall. If I kept squeezing on his throat, I would crush his voice box. He'd never sing again.
Mm.
So he had to choose between fighting because he had to beat me or losing his real life, his musical career. And he ended up tapping. And when I tell you, man, like the way that whole thing played out, that crowd hated me. Oh, they booed me out that building. Oh, and I even did the whole Terry Funk thing forever. I did that whole thing, bro. Like, and it was so obnoxious. And like, we were on to something. And now, you know, I've been working I've been working as instead of being the forever champion, I'm saying I'm the best ever. That's what I say now. I'm the best ever. It may not be true, but you're gonna believe it. You know, even as a baby face, it may not be true, but you're gonna believe it. And with me going on this farewell tour, this is me being the guy behind Sam Knight on camera. You legitimately see me smiling out there because I am having so much fun being me. And that's what it's become. I can't. The thing that what it was for me was I looked in the mirror and I came to the realization that my time to be trying to get signed to a full contract it's gone. My life is so busy with the job that I have, with my legacy. I had to I had to have the hard conversation with myself that maybe it just wasn't meant for me. But to God be the glory for the things that He's allowed me to do in it. From the tryouts I've had to the people I've been in the ring with, to the people who speak my name in rooms I haven't even walked in. In multiple companies, people know who I am. And it shocks me when people are like, I know you. And I'm like, oh my God, really? I watched you on TV. Like, it's a blessing. And, you know, to piggyback on what we talked about earlier, I was called to the ministry at age 11. That call has been on my life since I was a kid, and I've been running from it. You know what I mean? And so I come from a lineage of preachers. So I look at my story as like the story of Jonah for folks who follow. Jonah ran from what God wanted him to do. And then Jonah got swallowed up by that whale. And then finally he was like, all right, God, all right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And then he ended up doing what God wanted. The way I look at it is like this, man, I've been running for so many years and God gave me the opportunity. He gave me enough rope. Now he's like, all right, come on, Sam. I need you to focus on what I need you to focus on. And that realization hit me so hard. I was just like, okay, God, all right. I appreciate the almost 20 years you've given me. In November of next year, I will walk away with a smile on my face and my head up high. And then we can go do what it is I need to be doing. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's what it is for me, man.
What made you run away in a sense? I don't want to say run away because you know it's always been with you, and maybe the timing isn't right, and the timing had to be right where things kind of aligned together. Why do you feel like you kind of avoided that direction of possibly being a pastor or evangelist or a preacher?
Because it wasn't what I really wanted. It's not what I wanted to do. It's what I knew I was supposed to do. Like we have this tendency to go against the grain, man. Like we know what we're supposed to do, but it's more enticing to go do whatever else what we want to do. You know what I mean? Like, you know, we know we're not supposed to speed past a stop sign. But if we got to get somewhere, we're going to go. In some cases, or the California roll, as they call it. We know we're not supposed to do certain things. Like pro wrestlers, bodybuilders. I'm not supposed to eat that donut, but I'm gonna eat that donut.
Right.
You know, it's doing what you know you're not supposed to do, but you're so enticed by the idea of rebelling. And for years, it was like, man, I don't really want to do this. And my dad, God rest his soul, my dad, he was a doctor in theology, and he was in God's word. He was preaching. And my grandfather's a preacher. My cousin's a bishop and has a church in Alabama. And like, these are great giants in the apostolic faith.
Right.
And I'm like, I look up to these men, and I know I have the cadence. I know that I have the anointing on my life, and God has spared me. My God, I had a heart attack a couple months ago that I didn't even see coming, dude. Like, it happened while I was at work, and it was happening, and I was actively walking around dealing with an inmate. You see what I'm saying? So to me, it's like, okay, God, you have given me those signs to let me know you've got me. Maybe I need to really start listening to what you want. Maybe I need to stop playing. Maybe I need to really take this serious, because at any moment you could have snuffed me out. So it was more of just wanting to rebel, man. Wanted to do what I wanted to do. A life not following what God wanted me to do sounded more enticing. And I'm like every other human, man. I struggle, and sometimes I lose my way. But when you know what's right from wrong, you're held double accountable.
Right.
Am I making sense?
Yeah, let me stop you real quick. Because I do hear and understand everything you are saying, but we all know that God has this way of still getting exactly what he wants from us without us even knowing. And Sam, when my time of being around you, he has had his hand on you, even if you didn't feel like he did. And you still did his work. What we do in professional wrestling is we have the ability to grab souls, right, and bring them to his empire, his kingdom. And I've watched you in the locker room. I've watched you in the ring. I've watched you interact with fans, and I can sit back and I can see this light and this energy around you, where people who, whether they booed you because you did something horrible in the ring or they cheered you, they gravitated to you because you had that energy and that light that brought them out of whatever they were going through in their life, right? And especially in the locker room. And I've seen you online. And even before I left, you would always say, yo, y'all make sure y'all hit me up. If you're going through something, contact me. I saw you when you did the seminar and the boys were sitting around, and it wasn't even a seminar. It wasn't a training session. It was more so of this is the brotherhood of God. This is where I am speaking to you through him. And when he's speaking to you through me, and you had a moment where you told the guys, hey, if you got something going on with you, tell me, tell us about it. And I've never seen that in a wrestling seminar. I've seen the guys, they talking and my wrestling career, this, but you brought it to a real life situation. It was like, yo, man, what you got going on? You got something you want to say? What? And then you returned to me. I was sitting back just observing. You said, bro, Vic, what you got? And I told the guys, look, as much as I want to be here for, as much as I want to be the last man on this planet, I know that when my son has the opportunity, if he wants to step into the ring, there's a chance I may not be there. And I need all of you to be the uncles for him to make sure he does everything right. You remember that conversation?
I remember that.
And you sat back and I watched you, and in the way that you made it from, all right, we're learning how to work, we're learning how to bump, we're learning how to take bookings and do this, to, all right, let's come to the altar. Let's come to the altar, and I want you to put whatever you got going on in your life, I want you to put it on the altar and leave it there. Stop carrying it. You don't have to carry it. Leave it there. You don't have to carry this thought that you were trying to run from what you already were doing. You were just doing it on a different platform in a different way. And now you've done so much to where now your audience has to get bigger. You have to reach a different audience now. You've reached out to a wrestling audience, and they came to you because you were the shepherd, you were the right hand of God that gave them that, okay, you know what? I'm going through all this in my life right now, but I know if I let it go, it'll be handled. I can come to a wrestling show and I can forget the cancer. I can forget the bills. I can forget the drugs. I can forget the alcohol. I can forget it all within this 2 hours to 3 hours time frame of being in this wrestling show, because I know someone like Sam Knight is going to make me forget. He's going to help me forget. He's going to take all these burdens from me, and he's going to give it to God for me, because God, sometimes I don't know how to do it myself. So you did exactly everything you were supposed to do. Now your audience has to change and broaden. So I commend you, and I'm proud of you.
I appreciate that, man, from the bottom of my heart, man, because I never looked at it from that point of view. And I've been told that multiple people, like, man, you've used this platform and you've done this platform, and God has used you in this way, and but because of who my parents are, my mom is always, you're supposed to be behind the pulpit. But to piggyback off what you were saying about that, because that whole seminar was announced to advertised as an open forum, and it was a mental health open forum for the boys and for the girls of professional wrestling. There was even a point in there where I said, I would like to close this in prayer, and if anyone is uncomfortable, you can leave. And there was a few people who left. But I remember praying with the boys, and I remember tearing up, because in the process of me praying, I was saying, God, help us to understand that their no is not a no completely. Because people don't touch on the fact that how when you get rejected or left unread by a promoter, how that can affect your mental health. Mm-hmm. Or how when a scout from a bigger company says, you look good, but you're not what we're looking for. Boom, it can hit you. Rejection is rejection. I've had multiple WWE tryouts. I had Steve Lombardi and William Regal look at me and say, drop some more weight, come back and see us. I've had William Regal look me square in my face. This is what made me a better promo. He looked me square in my face and said, I don't believe you, because it's not in your eyes tell me a different story. My dad was diagnosed with cancer. My dad was dying. And I was like, hey, I want to do this for my dad. And that man looked at me and told me he didn't believe me. That was a hard pill to swallow, but I understand. I understood it. You know what I mean? So I was trying to drive that point home to the younger generation, because there aren't a lot of guys like us who have seen, felt, and who have had those pains and had that hurt, who are willing to have those conversations with the guys. No, most of us are too busy trying to compete to keep our spots, or most of us are too busy trying to shun them off instead of going, hey, my arms are wide open. Come holler at me. I used to have wrestling weekends where people would just drive out to my house and we would sit and talk after shows. We would sit up to 2-3 o'clock in the morning and just break down their match, my match. One thing I do in my car on my way home when I was driving home, Destination 6 was 3 hours away from my house. I would drive home in my carload. I'd go, let's break down the whole show. Give me the truth. I'm not perfect, man. Like, I'm not. I have my faults. I have my issues. I fight depression. Sometimes it's rough. I deal with anxiety myself. After my heart attack, it was a scary experience for me, because I had a heart attack a week before my 37th birthday. And so it was a hard pill to swallow. But I'll tell you this much, man. in the midst of me going through everything I went through, I realized that you can't do it alone. And when you have good people in your corner, you're untouchable. Like you're like my daddy used to say, boy, you're dangerous. When you got the right folks push you, you're dangerous.
Mhm.
And this is why I talked about the camaraderie and the brotherhood and the sisterhood in pro wrestling. If we'd spend less time fighting against each other and more time building each other up, the pro wrestling world would be a better place. But that's the world in general.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Man, you've
Yeah, I got
been
me
dropping
preaching.
gems this whole podcast. You know what I'm saying? And I can see the heavenly glow. You look, I know you sitting in your car, but it looked like you're glowing. You got a halo right now.
Appreciate it. It's
You
these
know
lights,
what I mean?
Doc. It is bald head.
Yeah. Master Sam Knight. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? It's like, and I'm
I
gonna say this.
received that.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this. Sometimes God meets us where we are, and sometimes you
Yes.
got to go deep do some deep doo doo, and he'll like, you know
Mhm.
what? I'm gonna pick you up from where you are, and I'm gonna use you, even though you
Yes, sir.
probably feel useless. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen a lot of wrestlers, and I know we're still sticking on the wrestling tip, but I've seen a lot of wrestlers who take that route of being able to reach young men through wrestling, which is a weird concept to people that's outside of the world. They don't understand that. But I see brothers like Caprice Coleman and George
South.
George South. You know, just use those types of platforms to reach young people. You know what I'm saying, and to bring people closer to an understanding of who they are. So I know you are leaving the wrestling world, and I know you are embarking on something a lot more beautiful in your life. You know, if you have your family, your legacies, you know what I'm saying, whatever you want to call them, this is a beautiful time in your life, man, because you're going through a transition. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I salute you, my brother, and you know, we want the best for you. You know what I'm saying? We don't
I
get to see,
appreciate that.
so we got to hold on to all the times we seen you kick ass and just you
Yes.
kicking ass for
Yes.
the Lord now. Kicking ass for the Lord. Yeah, put that on the shirt. Sell it.
Real
Yeah.
quick, I got a quick question. Are you still
Yeah.
working with OVW? And tell us about your time there and the experiences you've had with that.
So I haven't been to OVW in about a year or so, maybe a year and a half. But in the times that I was at OVW, it was magic. So I trained at Knox Pro Wrestling Academy under the tutelage of Rikishi, Gangrel, and Black Pearl. So I worked with the kid. I worked with the Samoans, and so they taught us TV production. And so going to OVW, you're working TV production. Al Snow is a professional's professional. Great man. It was cool working with Doug Basham, and he actually agented a couple of my matches there. Wrestling Jack Vaughn, Garrison Creed, a couple other guys over at OVW. It was a fun time, but it was also a learning experience. I had my buddy Alakon House who went with me, the director. Shout out to Alakon House. He got to manage me because Elijah hooked him up and got him hooked up with OVW, and then we end up, by the grace of God, being in the semi-main of the show on TV. So I was just like, oh man, this is just great. This is all coming together. But life changed. I had a job change. My job takes up a lot of my time, so I haven't been able to get out there. My plan is to get out there a couple of times before I hang up my boots. But it was a great experience. Top-notch talent. If you've watched the show, The Wrestlers, it's great, but being there is better. Being there live and in person is better.
Absolutely. Well, look, Roosevelt said you ain't got the chops no more. Matter of fact, I heard him say something bad about one of your great aunties. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna repeat it. You know what I'm saying? But he said something disparaging. We got this clip, this segment on the show that allows us to pretty much go to war in a promo battle. So, Sam Knight, if you're down for it, I want you to cut a scathing promo against the one and only Roosevelt. Y'all gonna go back and forth real quick. You down?
Am I going Victor Andrews or am I going Roosevelt? Because
Inquiring minds want not to know. Which one you want? Which one you want?
you want Vic? I can go Vic.
Good.
Give Vic.
We can go Victor Andrews. All right, I can give you
All
that.
right, let's go, Victor Andrews. Beautiful people, prepare yourself. We're going to war. All right, who got first?
Sam got first.
Oh, okay. All right, put me on the spot. All right, Victor Andrews. We've danced this dance before. You know, I usually when I beat somebody, I move on. And I just happened to hear from a little birdie that you were running your mouth. You had a lot to say. It was that same mouth that I punched you in about 6 months ago. But no matter. I mean, if I were you, I'd do the same thing too. You know, relevance is kind of a big thing for you, right? Remaining in the know. No, I see you. You're challenging guys. Guys like John Cena. Here's the thing. If you can't beat me, what makes you think you're going to beat him? So here's the thing, here's the thing, Victor. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to give you an opportunity, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You're going to get a chance to redeem yourself. And if you can beat me, I will gladly sing your praises to the world. Question is, do you believe you can beat me? Now, I'm sure it's going to be a yes. You're going to say, I believe that. But really, within your heart of hearts, do you really think you can beat me? Inquiring minds want to know. I'll see you soon, Bob.
Oh man, he left the gun smoking. Pew pew pew. Oh man, listen. Inquiring minds do want to know, Roosevelt. Do you think you can beat Sam Knight, or do you think he got your number? I can see an ass whooping in your future, sir. Go ahead, Roosevelt.
What's a knight to a king? What's a king to a god? What is a god to the right hand of a god? And what is the right hand of a god to a non-believer who does not believe anything that you are saying right now? Sam, you've talked the praises of many, many superstars that you've laid in your past. And you speak as though you're untouchable. We all know that's not true. Because when there's night, there's day. And allow me to shine the light on you, Sir Sam Knight. One thing is for sure. If we stepped in the ring, we're selling out seats all over the world. But let's be certain. You have one chance to avoid getting hit with this PYT. Because my name is Roosevelt. And Sam, you already know I like to fight.
Oh man! Oh, woo! Somebody book that. Book that. I got $20 on the winner. No, I'm just saying, I got $20 on the winner. Oh man, is the PYT is that pretty young thing or protect your teeth? Which one is it?
Protect your teeth from this pretty yeet thing.
Hey man,
Oh man.
I like my teethers, bro.
He said that's why I'm weaving, because I want to be able to chew good.
Trying to watch
Yeah.
out.
Hey, Oos, look, man. You have no idea how much of a blessing you have been to my life. I love you so much, man.
Love
We
you too,
really
man.
appreciate you being on the show. We appreciate you doing everything you have done for the wrestling business and everybody that has followed on behind you. Um, we have this thing every show where we leave the people with some words of kindness, words of wisdom, some encouraging words. Tell us, Sam Knight, do you have a final word for your beautiful subjects?
I do. In a world full of confusion, in a world full of drama, in a world full of uncertainty, be that light. We spoke about it earlier. Be that light. Be that difference. Our time here is rented. Whew. Our time here is rented. They say you only have one life, YOLO, right? You only live once, right? So what do you want to be remembered for? You want to be remembered for being involved in everybody else's mess, being the center of attention that attracts negative attention, or do you want people to remember you for making a difference? When your time is done, what will you be remembered for? And I pray that you all want to be remembered for bringing a smile to someone's face or showing someone that it's not that bad.
Right.
The world's bad enough. Just show people that there are brighter days coming. That's all I
Oh
got.
man. Woo! Ha! Pastor Knight, boy, with a word. That's the final word from the one and only Sam Knight. Man, I felt the Holy Ghost. I almost started shouting, boy. These knees
Hey,
was getting
listen.
warmed up.
He said I'm about to run.
Boy, I'm about to run around the church, boy. I'm trying to tell you. Oh man, Roosevelt, do you have a final word for the beautiful people?
Yes, absolutely. And this is a little piggyback off of everything we talked about today. And my final word for the people is don't worry about what you have to carry because sometimes you need that extra weight to leave a footprint. One of the things that I don't like about death is when you get a tombstone, a headstone, they put your birthday and your death date, but they put that little hyphen or that dash in between. And that dash doesn't really mean or doesn't really leave a statement to me. It just says that you existed. When my time is done, I want my birth date on one side, the death date on the other side, and I want footprints in the middle to let the world know that whatever my weight was, whatever I had to carry, I carried it with the strength of Samson. I used the patience of Job, and I carried it well by myself or with a whole flock of people that helped me get to where I needed to be. And I left a footprint on this world that everyone would know that Roosevelt was here. He did what he needed to do. He did what he had to do. And he did it God's way. He did it his way. He did it every way. So that way we know that we are still here or we're still able to do the things we can do because Roosevelt made it so. So don't worry about what you have to carry because sometimes you need that extra weight to leave some footprints. That is my final word for the beautiful people.
Absolutely, man. Well spoken. Well said, sir. Well said. Yeah. Pastor Roosevelt as well. Thank you, Deacon. Thank you, Deacon. Yeah. We go over here to Deacon Chef over here. Oh man, Chef Showtime. You got to find a word for the beautiful people.
Um, nothing is given. Everything is earned.
Nothing is given. everything is earned. I don't
Amen.
think you need to say no more.
Amen. Amen, Doc.
That's
Amen.
it. Yeah, you see how he put that that period at the end of that. He didn't even have to say
hmm
anything else. He was just like, that's it. That's it. That's all it is. Taken and accepted. That's the final word from the one and only Chef Showtime. Beautiful people, my final word is more people die from indigestion than starvation. More people die from indigestion than starvation. And when I say that, I'm not talking about food. I'm talking about the things that you consume, the negativity that's around you. The more that you ingest, if you're not ingesting positivity in your life, if you're not ingesting good relationships, if you're not practicing certain habits that lead to a healthy lifestyle, then it can definitely damage you. So watch what you take in. Watch the people that always come to you with bad news and you don't have no way to flush that out. You know what I'm saying? Watch the music that you listen to because that influenced you. You know what I'm saying? Watch the people that you know don't mean you no good, but you still let them use you in certain things. And that can lead to indigestion. It can lead to uncomfortableness. It can lead to you breaking down from the inside. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we think we need certain things and we don't. You know what I'm saying? You got everything that you need. God provides everything that you need to be able to live a healthy lifestyle. So I guess that's my word. You know what I'm saying? More companies die, more companies, business too. Companies die from indigestion too. You know what I'm saying? You might hire a bunch of people and you got a whole bunch of nothings. they don't do nothing. They always like, you know what I'm saying? You got to find new people. You know what I'm saying? So it works for companies and business as well as individuals, man. Watch what you take in and make sure that everything that you put out is positive and good energy. That is the final word from your boy, Brian Renegade. I tried to make that cool. Like I kind of got lost for a second, but don't worry about it. don't worry about it. I brought it back. Oh man,
We was following you, Doc. We was following you.
I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? I was fluttering the line, but I made it through. I made it through.
You know,
Oh
I
man,
was almost like one of those church mothers. Take your time, Doc. Take your time.
take your time. Take your
Take your
time,
time,
boy.
Doc. Make it plain, Doc. Make it plain.
Oh man, well, Sam Knight, man, we appreciate you being on the show, man. This is a great conversation, man, and one most needed, man. And thank you for being on here and spreading the word, making us feel some type of way, brother. You welcome on the show anytime. You know what I'm saying? I know you got
Appreciate
your show coming up, man. Go ahead and plug your stuff, man. What you got going on, and where can the people find you?
So this next week, October 25th, I am wrestling for Singleton Wrestling. I'm in a tag match, and it is in Brazil, Indiana. In 2 weeks from now, I am in the Rocket to the Top ladder match for Rocket Pro Wrestling in Joliet, Illinois. Main event Sam. That's what we call me. Main event Sam. So I'm looking forward to that. You can find me on all social media outlets. Sam Knight, SAMKNIGHT. And last thing I'll say is this, man. If you see me in the street, speak. My head ain't that big. So I appreciate y'all. God bless you guys. Thank you for having me.
We appreciate you. Hey, look, before you go, I'm gonna have you end the show. Is that okay?
That's fine.
All right, cool. So I'm going to say we will see you next week on the next best. I'm going to point to you, and I want you to say "damn," but I want that "damn" to come from the pits of your soul. You know what I'm saying?
You got it.
You know, you got to reach to the sopranos and the altos to get them to help you out with it. You know what I'm saying? I want you to do it like Ron Simmons was on the pulpit.
You got
Ready?
You got it. All right.
Oh man. Beautiful people, we will see you next week on the next best
Damn
wrestling podcast. I appreciate that. I ain't gonna tell your pastor that you cussed on live stream.
I appreciate you. Yeah, don't give me trouble now.
I'm gonna look out for you. You know what I'm saying? He ain't got to know everything. Oh man.
Keep quiet now.
Yeah, we gonna keep
right.
that quiet. Yeah, we gonna say that. Oh man, thank you for being on here. You're welcome anytime. Fellas,
I appreciate
we'll
you
check
guys.
you out next week. Beautiful people, we bid you adieu.